Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Mighty's chat with me, stupid on breast cancer. I'm super excited to be here with some really amazing human beings. As we all know, if you don't know, then you must live in a box, that it's Breast Cancer Awareness Month and it's pink everywhere. For the record, there might be some talking about pink washing and different things about those types of issues that the breast cancer community has. I love pink. It's a beautiful color. I love wearing it. I don't necessarily always feel like it needs to be associated with breast cancer. So I'm excited to bring these two on. I've known them for a really long time, and I'm going to introduce you to my girl Sheila and Kate, and they're going to tell a little bit about themselves and why I dragged them onto a live today. So Sheila and Kate, thanks so much for joining me today. I know that you guys are always great. If I say, hey, you want to do this? You're jumping right in. Mostly not just because you're fabulous, but because you are true advocates, and we're going to have a really great conversation today. So, Sheila, why don't you go first? Just tell us a little bit about you and what you're all about.
Hi, I'm Sheila Mcglown, and I live in the Illinois area. I'm about 4 hours from Chicago. I'm originally from Cleveland, and I'm a 25-year Air Force veteran. And I was diagnosed 10 years ago with metastatic breast cancer that has spread to my liver and ribs. And my mom passed away in 2004 of metastatic breast cancer. And when she passed away, I didn't understand that metastatic meant stage 4. So that's why I'm here. And that's why that's why I became an advocate, because I want people to understand the differences with metastatic and early stage, and hopefully to help raise more money for research and to talk about clinical trials and do all those good things. So I thank you, AnnMarie, for allowing me to be here. We've been knowing each other for years, and I'm super excited.
I know, I'm so excited. Before Kate jumps in, I do want to say what you said is so pivotal to my life. I didn't realize that people died from this. Like, I really had no clue until my friends started dying, and I was like, holy cow, people actually die from this. They thrive from it too, but I just didn't realize that part of it. So it's why it's really important for me to bring the both of you on. So Kate, can you tell us a little bit about you?
Yeah, I'm Kate. I am about 30 miles south of Pittsburgh, and I was diagnosed with metastatic breast cancer at 28 in 2013. And when I was diagnosed, they told me that I would probably only live 18 to 24 months, and that was almost 8 years ago. And just like Sheila and yourself, AnnMarie, like I made it my mission to let people know like the realities of breast cancer, not just, the pink and happy that's associated with it. Like I want people to see that it's not always happy and go lucky, and I'm not always inspirational and brave. Like I have really hard days and really hard times. And when I was diagnosed, my twins were 4 and my son was 2. So they've grown up over the past almost 8 years with a mom with breast cancer, and it's affected them as much as it's affected me.
I know. And so I've known both of you guys a really long time. I've brought you in on different platforms that I've worked on. And what I love about sitting amongst you is that an early stager can advocate for a stage 4 friend, and a stage 4 friend can be a voice for an early stager. I think that's really, really important in our community because, we both could be each other. And that to me has always really resonated really strong. And when I did realize that people died from this, I was shook. I was confused. Why aren't we talking about this? And you two are perfect to have on because you've been thriving with stage 4 for so long. It doesn't mean that there's a cure. We know what the end result is going to be, but it also means that you can advocate and thrive through this. And, part of this whole conversation is, why did this happen? How did this happen? This isn't the life I wanted. It wasn't, but how did you turn it into the life that you have? And I'm going to throw that at Sheila first, mostly because I know how you advocate, and I think that people really need to hear it, not just being a stage 4 person, but you're a woman of color, and you advocate so strongly in that community.
Well, I wasn't given a choice. Breast cancer didn't give me a choice. I just had to find out when my mom died. And then 5 years later, I got the diagnosis. I was just like, I know nothing about breast cancer. Like, it's not talked about in the Black community. And I didn't know. I guess I was just crazy or just blind, but I didn't realize Black women got breast cancer until I did my research. And when I went into the office, she said, well, you got stage 4 breast cancer. And I was just like, how many stages is it? You got all of them. And I was like, for real?
How many stages?
Yeah, I was just like, I didn't know.
How many stages do I got to go through this crap for?
And I thought you get chemo, you're done. Okay, you're finished, But when I went in, she was like, no. And then they said, I said, what's the average lifespan? She said, 3 to 5 years. And I said, I'm going to be your miracle patient. I said, we're going to fight this together. And we did. Me and my doctor, we have a great relationship. And I said, we're going to do this together. And she did. And, I rely on her for a lot of information, great information. And I wasn't given a choice. Like, I just have no choice but to have turned it around. And, with my faith and going into the Black community to teach women about breast health and stuff, it just motivates me and rewards me to just be the best advocate that I can be.
Yeah.
That's what I do every single day.
Yeah, I think sharing our story is so incredible. And Kate, for you had these little kids and you had other things that you struggle with as well. And a cancer diagnosis on top of it is hard. I mean, it just is really, really hard. How did it, you said your kids grew up with it, and which they did. I've watched them grow up with it because I've known you about as long as you were diagnosed. How did you, and for the record, I've never gotten to hug her yet.
I know.
Sheila, you and I met at a conference once.
Yeah, I still got that picture.
Not fair.
How is that not fair? But hail the pit, so maybe soon. Anyways, how did your kids take that in? Because that was really hard, telling your kids and them being so young, and they've grown up with it. So their perception is totally different than anyone else's.
Yeah, and it's really hard too, because every October, of course, they see Breast Cancer Awareness Month as almost a time to celebrate, because we've always done so many things in October. So when they were younger, I kind of let them think that. Like, I remember one time, one of my twins had made the pink ribbon, and she put on it "Breast Cancer Rocks." Well, there's no part of breast cancer that rocks. How do you explain that to just a 6-year-old that, no, this actually isn't anything that rocks? So we've had to take like really delicate steps to explain everything to them. And at one point a few years ago, my son had asked, when are you going to be done with this? When's this going to be done? When's your cancer going to be done? And I think that was like a really pivotal. I can't say. It was like a real turning point with them, because we did have to sit them all down and explain almost all over again, on new terms, because they weren't babies anymore. They weren't toddlers. They were at this, in between stage that mom's type of cancer doesn't go away. And there is no end in sight to treatment. So it's been, like one day at a time with them.
Yeah, it has to be, because you are right. They're young and they grew up with it. So you have to change the language as you go. It's so funny you said that, because if the first month my kids, so I was diagnosed in July, and then October came around and my kids were, coming downstairs. I got stupid breast cancer shirt on. It's October. And, they had pink socks and I got pink socks on. I think it was like,
how old were the boys?
My God, Ben was 13 and my youngest was 4. So, he's 13 now and Ben's 20. So they grew up in this world, which to me, as much as it ripped their innocence, it gave them education. So I don't know, it was like a couple years after my diagnosis, it was October, and they come downstairs and they looked at me and they said, I got news for you. I am not wearing pink every single day for the month of October. It was just like not going to happen. But we were we were in a store and around Breast Cancer Awareness Month a couple years ago. And the guy says to the cashier says, do you want to give $1 to breast cancer research? And I said, well, where's the money go? And they shrugged his shoulders. I don't know. I said, well, you can't ask me for money and not know where the money goes. Like what research foundation? It just goes to breast cancer research. Do you want to donate? I was like, I already donated to breast cancer. And if you can't tell me where, then I'm not giving any money. Well, my son was standing next to me and he just turned and walked away because he knew exactly what was going to happen. But they also learned education. I ingrained in them about donating money to real research. The pink stuff is great, and I love it when people wear it in support, but they have to understand that money really isn't going anywhere, more than likely. It's usually capped at a certain amount. So maybe, they'll cap it at like $5,000. Anything over that's profit. And where is it going? Who are you donating to? Because that is so important. Sheila, you just, when we first started talking, you talked about research. The only thing, for the record, everyone watching, that is going to help these two women on this panel is research dollars, because their cancer is terminal. That is the end result. So for me, I don't think we'll see a cure. What I want to see is I want to stop the deaths. That's what we have to do. We have to stop it first so that then we can research how this happened and get to a cure. And we can't do that without real research dollars. So I think that's part of this whole conversation, is that Breast Cancer Month should be about research. And I do feel bad for other cancers because we do get a lot of light on us.
We do. And I think sometimes people get agitated with it. Like I see a lot of people say, what's the one thing? Not all cancers are pink.
Right.
And I just want to scream sometimes because let's face it, breast cancer is the most profitable breast cancer. That doesn't mean that all that money is going to breast cancer research, though. It's just most of the time what is lining people's pockets. Right.
You're right. And also what they're finding right now is they can research breast cancer. I have a girlfriend who was taking, what the hell was the name of it? I can't remember. She was taking a breast cancer drug. She doesn't even have breast cancer, but it was working for her. So I think, our research dollars can help other cancers. That is true. Yeah. And you are right. It is the most profitable. It's the most monetizing cancer out there. They market right off of us. And let's be real, it's completely sexualized. Yeah. And that to me is what really gets me going. I mean, if you search breast cancer awareness on Instagram, it's just a bunch of, bikini clad people grabbing their breasts and
and that's
Go ahead, Sheila.
I think it's changing. I think the culture's changing because of strong advocates like all three of us. And, I can't enact change unless I be a part of the change, Mm-hmm. All I knew when I was diagnosed was pink. I admit it. I thought I walked, I did my due justice, and I raised some money for breast cancer, and that was it. But it's continually an educational process that we all, as advocates, need to go out into our communities and need to talk to people. And, when we're doing, like going in a dollar store, buying the pink socks or whatever, asking the hard questions. Well, where is it going to, And some organizations that do sell pink, they are doing good work with it. Not every organization I don't expect to be researched. That's not my expectation. Because some organizations, you still need support, you still need those things. And I'm not saying take that away, but, we do, we need more money in the research so we can find a cure. Hopefully one day we will find a cure, but we need to just change the culture. And this is the culture, that pink is pink. It's pink.
You are so right. And it is. And while I say research, we do need research. We need a balance. But you're right, because there's organizations out there that give you a week vacation in a house, and that might really help your family at that time. There's camps for our kids. There are so many other things. Sheila, you're absolutely right, and we do need all of those. I think that's a very, very important point. And find the ones that are supporting and doing the right thing. That's, a great cause to give to. And as far as pink goes, I can bathe myself in that. I love wearing pink. And I was just like you, Sheila, before I had breast cancer. I walked the walk. I bought the pink stuff. I got it. I did it. I really did. I think afterwards, it was just such a hard realization to what really went on, because I believed one thing and then, whoa, you're thrown into something else. And it was shocking. It really was.
Yeah.
Education isn't just about talking to our kids. It's about talking to that lady sitting next to you or that guy sitting next to you. Because we can't forget the men this month either. We all got good guy friends that have breast cancer, and, we love them and want their voices heard too,
Yeah.
I think we forget about that part of it.
And 1% of men get breast cancer. So, we need to continually include them as well.
Well, whenever I give a talk anywhere, I always ask, the first question I ask is, what's the biggest risk in getting breast cancer? And everyone will say, being a woman, being 40. I'm like, do you have breasts? Like, that's the biggest risk. If you got breasts, you're at risk, So we need to get that out there too, that it's not just about, but it's, when we were talking about early stagers, I do want to address this issue because I think it is something that is important. I know it's important to me, but early stage breast cancer, the community gets scared when they look at stage 4. And I think part of the reason why, for me personally, is we could be stage 4. We have a 30% chance of that. I think there has to come a way. There needs to be bridge a gap between early stagers and stage 4 so that we can just be one community, because we all need our voices to be heard. And this time of the month, I can't help but to think of my dear friend Sephora. And before she died, she said to me, be my voice. And I took that to heart. I really want to share her voice, your voice, Lucy's voice, who's an early stager, everybody's voice, because that's the only way to connect each other. How do you guys feel about that? Because I know that we do need separate community. Don't get me wrong. And I understand that, because there's things that all of us go through that we don't really get. But how do you feel about, because let's admit it, there is a divide between the group, and I want to bring that together. I want to see more unity. And I know you guys, I've always connected with you both in sharing your story and, your mission. So how do you guys feel about that being, stage 4 beauties?
Oh, I don't think that people are, I think some are scared, but I don't think that people are scared. I think people just want to move on. Like when my mom died, I wanted to move on. I didn't,
Excellent point.
I just wanted to enjoy life. I wanted to go a day without thinking about breast cancer. And people just I just think people just want to move on from it, Should they get educated about it? Yes, of course, because 30% of breast cancer reoccurs. But, is that wrong? No. It's their journey, it's their way of dealing with it. How do we know how they're dealing with it? How do we know that they're not talking about it just because they're not this powerful advocate like all three of us? I'm on many helplines, and there are women calling and petrified that are early stages. Oh my God, I felt the pain. I think it's coming back. Who wants to live in fear like that the rest of their lives? And they're crying and boohooing, and it's just like, man, I have stage 4, and this is what I have to live with every day, whether it's going to progress or whatever. But I just think people just want to move on from it and just maybe not think of the surgeries and chemo and different things like that. So I said this on Twitter. It's not so much being scared. Of course, breast cancer is scary. It's a beast. It's ugly. But we just need to educate, and we need to accept what they accept.
Yeah.
I just love you. That is so true. It really is, because you don't know what the other person, and not everyone needs to be an advocate. That is so 100%. And that's why there's people like us, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Kate, you said something in the beginning. You said how you don't always come on, I think you mean social media wise, but you don't always come on happy. Like, you can't always be happy.
Yeah.
And how has that been, sharing that part of your life, that part that's not so happy all the time?
I mean, it's for the most part, it's received well by people. I think that, oh my gosh, I have to plug in my iPad. I'm such a turd. So I'm just going to talk while I'm doing this. So most people Darn kids. I blame them for not having this charged.
Let's blame them. When in doubt, blame your kid.
Yeah, always.
We need that on a shirt.
This. All right. So, anywho, I think for like most people, it's well received and refreshing to see somebody that is just real and honest about everything that they're going through. Because I never want anyone to think that my life is perfect or I'm perfect or I have everything figured out, because I don't. And I am scared. And I do have, like I said, those bad days. And I want other people. I think the two greatest words in all of human history are me too. And for someone to be able to look at me and say, you know what, me too. I feel exactly like you do. It brings me comfort as much as it brings them comfort. Like, I want other people to know that there's others out there that feel exactly like they do.
I love that. And you're so right. It is about connecting and saying me too. That's part of the reason why I don't believe I'm shoving positivity down anybody's throat. I just feel like being real. And I think people don't realize that when you're real, that is being positive, because of exactly what you just said, that one person that says me too. I just have to change conversation for a second. And anyone that knows me knows I have an obsession with hoop earrings. And I'd like it pointed out that both my girls are rocking hoop earrings. So clearly we were meant to be BFFs.
Yes.
Cancer aside. Any girl that rocks a hoop earring is just my person. I'm putting it out there.
Earrings are like my new infinity ever since like breast cancer. You don't have hair. What do you got? You got your ears. You show off your ears.
Yeah. When both of you came on, I was like, they both got hoops on. I'm so excited.
You were meant to be.
It was meant to be. It was meant to be. So we were talking about being advocates and sharing your story. Has that been hard for your family in sharing your story? Because, it's an intense story. Has it been hard? Have they, been so embracive of it? What has it been like for your family? And I don't just mean your kids. I mean, your siblings or your parents, whoever. Have they embraced it?
I'll let it go.
I think it's hard for my family because my mom passed away from it. So, and like Kate was saying, I don't know whether I put that I'm this strong, brave person all the time, because I'm not. I'm not brave all the time. Some days I just don't want to go in the hospital, and I've been going to the hospital for 10 years every 3 weeks. Some days I don't want to be strong, where I just want to sit in the corner and cry and be like, why me? And I just feel that I guess they just don't talk about it because it's just something that stole my mother from us. So
right. I thank you, Sheila, for being so vulnerable right now, because I know that's really, really hard. And I have to say that brave, inspirational, strong, crying in the corner is brave to me. Not wanting to go to treatment is strong to me. There's so many versions of it, and society has put together this one version that they think is what should go on a poster, but it's so not true. That person crying is just as brave and strong as anyone else. And I do think that when people come to you and they're like, oh, you're so brave or you're so strong, it does put some weight on your shoulders, because you don't know how to let that break down. Kate, so has your kids been okay with sharing all of this?
Yeah, my son recently is not a huge fan of me sharing about him on social media. As they're getting into like preteen years and they're getting on social media, they're seeing me on social media and their friends are. So especially when it comes to like TikTok, like I love TikTok.
I know you do.
Right now, everybody else, all their friends think I'm like the cool mom, but they don't find it too funny.
Well, so I told you guys when I was diagnosed that Ben was 13, and I think I've shared this story before, but his school donates money to a charity every year, and they were looking. Stupid on Breast Cancer also is a nonprofit, and they were looking up charities to donate to. And it just happened to be the same time that I possibly was having an argument with a certain social network about being able to post mastectomy pictures, and I was on the news for it. And on their PowerPoint in the middle of 8th grade class, they Googled stupid dumb breast cancer, and up popped all my mastectomy pictures. And he comes home and he was like, not a good day to Google stupid dumb breast cancer. And I was like, I'm so sorry. But a few months ago, my youngest son, who's now 13, said to me, I'm pretty sure all my friends have seen your breasts by now. Which, it's education. I mean, it's not, that's to me just needs to be a normal, because they do need to see what the reality of things are. I mean, so it's been an up and down for me sharing it. They've been super supportive in it, but I do know that sometimes it's been a little bit like, oh, there she goes again. She's on another rant. Yeah. But it's also important, and it's good for them to see that you can be socially responsible at the same time, which I think is, incredible. So before we end, I want to ask you both a question that I think, because it's Breast Cancer Awareness Month, it's also one of the highest months that people are diagnosed with breast cancer. So they must be getting their mammograms. They must be doing self-breast checks. With COVID right now, I know that my breast center is like through the roof because people have, prolonged their appointments and whatnot. But what would be the one piece of advice you would say to someone who's newly diagnosed, not stage 4, stage 1, stage 2, just newly diagnosed with cancer? What's one thing that you would tell them, knowing all you know now? I know I threw that at you without prep, but I believe you. I believe in you both.
Go ahead, Kate.
That just breathe. First of all, just breathe. And everything will be okay, no matter what stage you're at. I mean, even if you're stage 4, and again, I was diagnosed, I was 28, had little kids, young family, and I was told I was going to die, like, everything was still okay. Everything will be okay. And even if something would happen to me tomorrow, my kids will be okay one day. So I think I just kind of would want people to know that there's still hope, that things will be okay.
What about you, Sheila?
I would say trust the process and be your own advocate. And if something doesn't feel right, the one thing my doctor told me, Sheila, if my bedside manner is ever bad, let me know. Yeah. And make sure you have that doctor-patient relationship where you can talk to her and you can just tell her everything. So just trust the process. It's a hard process, but like Kate was saying, you can get through it.
I think your doctors are so pivotal. And I say this quite often, that don't forget they work for you. So if something's not a connection there, you can fire that doctor and get a new doctor. They work for you. And the reality is that doctor's got another patient right behind them. So it's not, they're not going to lose, clients, patients or whatever. And knowing that it's going to be okay at some point, that's true. It is going to be okay. It's going to suck in the beginning and it's going to be really hard, but it's going to be okay. And for me, it's always not alone. Like, as cliche and stupid as that sounds to me sometimes, I look at communities like the Mighty and Stupid on Breast Cancer and all those other great organizations out there. That shows you that there's people out there going through exactly what you're going through. That actually is what gave me the most solace. And as scary and as uncertain as stage 4 is, having both of you here 10 and 8 years into your diagnosis is enormous, And I think that is hope to me right there, is right in front of me, is the both of you. So I just love you both. I'm so glad that you joined me today. I do usually end my Mighties talking about, that there's 100 and 13 people that will die every day from metastatic breast cancer. And that's just ones that, that we know about. I feel like there's probably more. I think, research is key. The thing that I struggle with is that 4% of funding goes to childhood cancer. And that just makes me so angry because our kids matter more than 4%. And I think we're all in this together, and no matter what, we will get through it. So thank you both for joining me. And we will trudge on through the pink mud this month, and then I can have my color back.
Yeah.
I will say that is one thing that's so hard. I had a pink sweater on the other day, and someone's like, "Oh, are you wearing that for breast cancer?" I'm like, "I'm wearing that because I like pink."
Right.
I mean, really?
Right.
Come on. Let me wear pink. And I will say that all three of us look really good in pink. So whatever. Anyways, thank you guys for being here. And I hope everyone has a really great month, and we will see you again soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you.